Mr. President, I speak to support Dr. KWOK Ka-ki's motion. Like many members already mentioned, by democracy, we mean a fair system. By a fair system, we mean that people can be represented in a fair and just manner so that we can have one person, one vote, or a fair election. We can return the legislature, and under such circumstances, in terms of this policy-making process, in terms of this resource allocation system, there will be greater acceptance, and when there is greater acceptance, the system will be more reliable. On the other hand, if there is low acceptance, this system will constantly be challenged, thereby causing different problems to arise. Even when a decision has been made, it will be subject to various challenges. This has been the long-standing problem of our system in the past decade or so. We do not have a fair system. We are members returned by one person, one vote. But then, for some members, they are returned by a large constituent base, and for some other members, only a very narrow base. Why is it that we have different constituencies which differ in size to such an extent, such that ultimately, when it comes to policy making, we favor the interests of a few? When we have an unfair system, we therefore must challenge it, and as a result, the community will be ungovernable, and we continue to live in an unstable society. Why is it that gradually states are moving forward towards a democratic system? Because a democratic system can resolve problems. We're not saying that it is flawless. We have yet to come up with a perfect system, but democracy seems to be the best way to solve problems. Now, especially in Hong Kong, we're not talking about an independent democratic system. We're talking about a democratic system under the principle of one country, two systems. We have this unique situation. We have one country, two systems with high degree of autonomy in Hong Kong, and this is the political reality that Hong Kong people face after we return to China. However, can we really achieve one country, two systems and a high degree of autonomy in Hong Kong? I believe that many people will raise questions about them. But at the same time, we must understand the relationship between one country, two systems and a democratic system. This morning in this council, I raised a question in relation to a negotiation mechanism between the Education Bureau and the Ministry of Education of the mainland. And it is about whether we can have high degree of autonomy under one country, two systems as enshrined in the basic law. And we must treat this issue seriously. With mutual respect under one country, two systems, we hope to have democratic development in Hong Kong. If under one country, two systems, we do not have mutual respect, then it will be difficult to have democratic development. After Mrs. Carrie Lam assumes office, I hope first of all she can safeguard the system in Hong Kong, our way of life, our core values. I hope that they can be maintained. At the same time, she should continue to proceed with democratic development. Even in the country's development, the undertaking was made as early as May 1984. Back then, Mr. Zhao Ziyang, as Premier of PRC, wrote to the Student Union of Hong Kong University, and he said that in the future, in terms of implementing a democracy in Hong Kong SAR, and that is democracy, as you mentioned. This will definitely take place. It is not words coming from Mr. Zhao Ziyang's in his own capacity, but rather a letter written by him as Premier of the PRC. I think that the promise was made in 1984, and now it's time to honor the promise. Dr. Kenneth Leung just now mentioned that in terms of our Hong Kong people's sense of national identity, I believe that the democratic system will help enhance the sense of national identity. Imagine if we have been moving forward in our democratic development after the handover, then we would be very proud to be living under one country, two systems. On the other hand, if there is a standstill in our constitutional development, then we cannot help but feel resentful about one country, two systems. And that is why in our society, in different strata of our society, we must let them feel that we'll continue to progress. We will build a fair and just society so that we can all feel proud of this system. This framework laid down in the August 31st decision is an obstacle. We cannot feel proud, therefore. It is a kind of oppression. It cannot help us find a good starting point. I hope that Mrs. Carrie Lam's administration can find a good solution on this matter. We should reactivate constitutional reform so that we can give confidence to the people of Hong Kong.